Uh-oh, everybody. Uh-oh. You know what happened when Mike Tauchman robbed the home run? For those of you that have been with us since the days of 30 subscribers, I pulled out the glove. I said a little Mike Tyson's punch out. We got doubles. Oh, we got it with the hook. We got it with the hook. Christopher Morel. How about that? The knockout blow. The KO of the Chicago White Sox is at Wrigley Field. Chicago White Sox were playing their World Series. They thought they were taking a 2-game sweep. The Cubs fans were sitting there eating their nachos with tears in their eyes. And Christopher Morel, by the end of it, he's showing a little chest hair, baby. How about it? Mick,
rip off my shirt, man. Look, we are dancing, and I told you that the Cubs are going to rip their hearts out. And what makes it great is that it felt like when that double play happened in the 8th inning that it was all she wrote. Like Tim Anderson made that great scoop and got to the bag, and it was a double play, and it was like, man, that's it. And then the 9th came. And what makes it great is the second time that the Sox thought they had the Cubs, and then all they got was sent home this today walk-off style.
Yeah, I told the people a couple of days ago it's going to be like Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. And that's exactly what happened. 3-0 entering the 8th inning. Nick Madrigal hits a home run to make it 3-1. Cubs get the tying run on base. As you mentioned, Happ grounds into the double play. You're thinking, all right, this one is most likely over. Cody Bellinger starts off the 9th with a double. Dansby Swanson, an excellent at-bat, watching pitches go by that were out of the zone. He gets the free pass. And then Christopher Morel, who actually, Ian Happ hit the home run a couple of days ago, and I called it. On this piece of paper that I had, Christopher Morel had plus 350 odds to leave the yard. They were the best odds outside of Luis Robert. So I said, Vegas must know something. Unfortunately, because I'm such a scatterbrain, I forgot to say it on the show. But I meant to say it. And what do you know? Morel comes up and sends one into the seats. I don't know if I've seen Wrigley Field that electric since pre-COVID.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, everything about it was great. I still can't believe it. I mean, we had just hit our 1,000th subscriber. I just put the picture out with Harry. Holy cow, we did it. You guys did it. We did it together, right? And then the Cubs were losing. I thought somebody's going to be like, Mick, you put that out and we're losing. And then when that went out, when that tweet went out, it was like it just sent this energy to Christopher Morel. And that ball leaked back over the plate, and then into the basket it went, and then the stadium was crazy, and the Cubs win! Cubs win! Man, that was an incredible game.
Jeez, Mick, how was your humble pie for breakfast? Good? But anyway.
Love it. I love the Cubs, and I love watching that. It was just amazing, man.
We're getting more into this game in just a second, but we do have to say, now that we've hit 1,000 subscribers, we've teased it for the longest time. Here's how the contest works. And the ball is in your court, everyone. This isn't we're picking out of a hat type ordeal. Here's how it works. You comment on this video only. You comment why you love Ryne Sanberg, your favorite memories, why he turned you into a Cubs fan. Maybe you had a brush of fame where you met him at an Applebee's or something. And
you're
had a
named after Ryno. Maybe you're named after Ryno.
Maybe whatever it may be, you leave a comment. The one that has the most likes, if it's a runaway train, if one gets 150 thumbs up because it's so damn good, you get the ball. If it's a mixed bag, we'll pick our 4 favorites, and then we'll pick out of a hat. So it will come down to a little drawing there, but we'll pick our 4 favorites or the 4 that have the most likes there. So what you do is you comment your story on why you love Ryne Sanberg. You get your friends and family to like that comment. That's cheating a little bit, but you can obviously do that because we want traffic to the page. And then we go from there, and someone is walking away with a Ryno baseball. Back to yesterday's game, Mick. You were talking to me, 7th inning, down 3-0. Maybe we got sold into a mirage. You know, maybe this was false hope, fool's gold for the Cubs that they're not actually as good as we thought. Have your thoughts changed in the last 12 hours?
I think the Cubs need to win 75% of these games, which are, down the stretch right now. And I'm going to, you look at the schedule. I knew that these White Sox games were going to be tough. I knew that we said it before they even happened. It's their World Series. Forget about everything else. Huge crowds.
And they have
people
talent.
Want to see, They're not. Yeah, they have talent. They just haven't played as a team this year, and they played two of their best games of the season. They just got their hearts ripped out yesterday. So now you got Kansas City coming in tomorrow, right? So you got 3 games against the Royals. Watch out for Nelson Velasquez. Remember, you traded him, and he's already hit some home runs for Kansas City. He's going to actually make the Cubs pay for that trade. That's another conversation. But you're going to see him over the weekend. Then the Tigers, then the Pirates. These are all games that you need to win, and you got to get good pitching to win those. So I think this just does exactly what we saw happen before. I think it just gives this team some momentum, and I really like you got to have games like this sometimes. I love the atmosphere at Wrigley. People are going to be fired up. The team's believing right now, and it couldn't have been better. I mean, what a great win. Can you talk about what that meant for the Cubs? Them and Cincinnati, both winners yesterday. The Brewers out on the West Coast loss. So all of a sudden now the Cubs and the Reds are tied for second, 2.5 games back. So the Cubs do pick up a game. Milwaukee's the only team in action. We'll talk about that in a second. But, when you switch that off and you look at the wild card, guess who all of a sudden now slides into, if the season ended today, a wild card berth? And, yep, that would be the Cubs. So with the Giants lost yesterday to Tampa Bay, the Cubs – the Marlins and the Reds are all tied for that last spot, but the Cubs would win the tiebreaker.
I see that wild card in Philadelphia at this point in the season to me, and with the horses that they have in the stable, they seem to be a pretty good pick to secure one of those wild card spots. Now, in terms of talent, I think the Cubs are definitely number 2. San Francisco, and this is just full disclosure because that's what we do on this show. We give you transparency. I covered the Giants a couple of months ago. At the beginning of the season, they strike out a ton and they hit a bunch of homers. That's what these Gabe Kapler teams do, and they love their analytics. I can't figure out who's even on their team. I mean, Jock Peterson's in the lineup every other day, it seems like. They brought up their number 1 prospect in Marco Luciano. He's up and down. Casey Schmidt had one of the best starts since Willie McCovey, and he's down in the minor leagues right now. Like I'm hearing some of these names with the Giants, and it's like, how are the Giants good right now? So I'm not too worried about them. The Marlins do have some young talent. I love Jazz Chisholm. He's one of my favorite players in the game, but he's always hurt. So I think in terms of the consistency right now and the horses in the stable for the stretch run as they enter the final furlong, and we're into the stretch, I like Chicago. I like the Cubs.
You like the Cubs? Good. I like the Cubs too, and I hope that this continues. But this just seems like a team that has some kind of magic. It didn't feel like that in the 7th inning yesterday. It didn't really feel like that in the 8th, but in the 9th inning, when everything popped, it was really a fantastic night. So the Reds and the Cubs are off today. Mentioned it that the Brewers have another game in LA, and they're trying not to get swept. They have a really tough stretch. And the next question that we got to get into.
Let me hop in there before you get to that next question, because I do want to mention, if you haven't watched the last couple of shows, the Brewers have a couple more with the Dodgers. Then they have the Texas Rangers in Arlington, another first-place team. Then they have the Minnesota Twins.
And this is the time where the Cubs got to make their move. All right, well, let's talk about this right here. Hollywood Pete, the watch starts now. Patrick Mooney saying that maybe him and Jordan Wicks get a September call-up.
Jordan Wicks. I thought he said because he wasn't on the 40-man, Jordan Wicks didn't have a shot of coming up this year. Is this new information?
What happens is when Marcus Stroman goes on the IL, now you got to look down your system and figure out who the next guy is going to be if you need a pitcher, and whether that be starting pitcher in the bullpen. He's a former first-round pick, Wicks. He's a guy who is a left-hander that when he's throwing strikes is really tough. I think eventually he's going to be a starting pitcher for the Cubs. At least that's what the hope is. And then Hollywood Pete, man, I mean, like the guy hit a walk-off home run a couple of days ago. He could be up before the September call-ups come. I just think that any day now, there's a chance that he pops up.
I think you call him up after the Pittsburgh Pirates series. Hopefully you do what Cap said, and that's win 75% of these games. You go 8-4. Cubs are 1-1 in this 12-game stretch, so that would require them to go 7-3 the rest of the way. Take care of business against the Royals, day games, take all 3, and then going to Detroit and Pittsburgh, winning both those series. It's Milwaukee. And once you're playing Milwaukee and Cincinnati, that 7-game stretch that's really going to determine things. And then don't forget, you have San Francisco right after and Arizona right after that, 2 wildcard teams that are chasing you or being chased. So that to me is like that 10, 15 game stretch where it's time to unleash a little magic. And that's what Pete Crow Armstrong brings, that same level of excitement and that same juice that Ellie De La Cruz brought the Reds that obviously wore off eventually. You're not going to – it doesn't matter if you're the top prospect in baseball unless you're Ronald Acuna Jr. Eventually, pitchers are going to figure it out and there's going to be a learning curve. But for the first couple of weeks, I think Pete Crow Armstrong could come out ablazing. And even if his bat slows down, he's still a Gold Glove caliber fielder, and he can still swipe bags with the best of them and swipe bags like the Cubs haven't seen in how long.
Yep, no doubt. And that's what we'll be watching out for. Enjoy the off day, my friend, and let's get back at it again tomorrow.
Short little show. Hey, it's good reaching 1K. When Mick and I started this channel, he actually started a couple months ago with the Scouts, Tim Wilkin. And he asked me if I wanted to hop on board. And he's like, let's do an NL Central show to start. So we did a National League Central show, a little pilot, as we call it in this industry. And at this point, that pilot show is deleted off the face of this earth because it sucked. I just had a white wall behind me and nothing else. Literally, I just moved in. The internet was bad, so I was in and out. We were getting like 25 views, and I was just wondering. But you remember the words from Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. And the Cubs faithful has came, and we really enjoy you for coming. And stick along with us the rest of the season because the Cubs are going for a little run in October, and we're here to break it down every day that ends with a Y. Streak continues.